Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz. This is the Search Buzz video recap. The news we covered over the past week at the Search and Roundtable. Today is August 7th, Friday, and we'll get right into the news. We have a lot to discuss. So we have our Google Webmaster Report, which we published on August 4th. We do this every month, and it shows what happened over the past month in the Google search front in the eyes of webmasters and SEO. We look at a webmaster thread, which is constantly being updated by SEOs and webmasters to go over these details. And what we noticed in this thread was that the major topic, at least early on said in terms of August 4th, the 1st and the 4th, was that people were talking about how proxy sites seemed to be getting into Google web search results, and it's very spammy. Another person said that he noticed that a site that ranked number one for a really, really long time, which was technically, according to him, a spam site, was dropped from the index. Other people were complaining that their sites, which ranked number one for the longest time, were also dropped from the index. So it's kind of hard to see. But overall, here's a summary of some of the posts that we did over the past month, just so you know. There was a small Google update in July. Google specifically was looking at location-specific queries and matching them to location-specific links, possibly. Stream Rotator, which is basically a popular image technology that rotates images, typically used on adult sites, seem to have been causing a type of penalty in the porn industry in Google search results. There were some discussions over Google picking the wrong title tags and title results this past month. Google Master Tools added some features and updated the design this month. There's a new Sitemaps error called duplicate URL warnings. We'll talk about that a little later. Google Image Search seem to have updated as well and maybe improved their filter. The Google Country Filter removal bug is something that's been being discussed as well, and this is all stuff we discussed over the past month as well, and it goes on and on. So if you want to look at the past month at Google in a snapshot, you can go to seroundtable.com, click on the archives section on the top left, then go to the August 4th archives, and you should be able to get this, what we call August 2009 Google Webmaster Report. And it should have a lot of details, and obviously if you are impacted by any ranking changes at Google, you might want to go ahead and look at this post, as well as look at the threads that we linked to. Less than 2 weeks ago, we reported on a Bing update, a Microsoft Bing update, which happened in the third week of July. And now we're seeing another update from people discussing this at Webmaster World and other threads, that there's been an update to Bing. A lot of people are liking it, some people are hating it. Like any update, it's typical. But there seem to be some major changes to the Bing algorithm and how that is impacting the search results at Bing.com. So if you have noticed any ranking changes, we posted about this on August 6th. Since we're on the topic of Bing and updating, there are some webmasters who are noticing what we think to be our Microsoft's cloaking tests. People are noticing a lot of referrals from MSNBOT, which is Microsoft or Bing's spider crawler, and one webmaster noticed 150 plus refers from MSNBOT for specifically querying his site for Donate. And he doesn't have any related sites in terms of Donate, so he's not really sure what's going on. This seems very typical of historic cases on where Microsoft is actually using fake refer spam or fake refers from MSNBOT to detect cloaking. Microsoft promised several years ago, or maybe a few years ago, that they want to do this again, and time again they've been doing this and coming up over and over again. Microsoft's product program manager, Brett, was actually said he's looking into a fix and to see why this is going on. He has not confirmed that it's cloaking tests, but it's pretty indicative that it is. Since we're on the topic of Bing, we'll complain a little bit more about Microsoft's MSNBOT. Digital Point's founder, Sean Hogan, said that MSNBOT 2.0B, which is their beta, their beta spider, is actually crawling his forum way too much. He's saying that based on his metrics, he's being crawled by that specific MSNBOT 2.0B, at a rate of 8 megabits per second every day, all day. He's pretty upset about it. Not that his servers can't handle it, but he's pretty upset that it just seems like a waste for both Microsoft and for his forums. It is important to know that Microsoft did recently announce that their beta crawler 2.0B is actually going to be ramping up and starting to crawl a lot more. The question is this a little bit too much more? So definitely, if you are having this problem, take a look at our discussion on August 3rd at SEOroundtable.com. There are links to ways to possibly notify Microsoft of this issue and hopefully get it resolved. Recently, it seemed like Google's been pushing their AdWords listings on the search results closer to the organic listings. So what you have basically is you have your I guess you're looking at me, but let's say you type your query in, you have your organic listings over here, and then the AdWords listings is right over here. When you increase the size of your browser, usually those AdWords listings, which are over here in the browser, basically would move over as you open the browser. And it would move over to the right and follow the width of the browser and right align on the width of the browser. What's happening is on Firefox specifically, not on Safari yet at least, it's actually stopping and staying close to the AdWords results, and there's a lot of white space. When you move the browser open, there's a lot of white space between the AdWords listings and the actual end of the browser. So it seems like Google is actually pushing those ads closer to the organic results, hopefully to get people to see them more, especially when people are increasing their resolution, increasing their monitor size, and investing more in larger screens. Another change we noticed in Google, specifically in the search results, was that I think Friday evening or Friday late afternoon, a week ago, they started to participate in a new more link. You know how Google has, like when you have multiple listings from the same site, in the search results it says show more results from this site, and that usually is like a link that you click on and takes you to another search result page, which is basically a site command query. Now Google is actually using a dynamic plus box, which basically is a textual plus box, I guess using Ajax or JavaScript to basically open up five additional listings from that site, and then if you wanted to, then you could actually click again to see even more results beyond the, I guess, 2 + 5 results. So it's definitely something new that's going on. We have pictures of the before and after at SERoundtable.com on August 5th. It looks like AdSense has sent out to many publishers who receive checks in the mail from Google and who do not opt for the EFT or automatic deposit system, that Google's been sending out multiple checks. It's a duplicate check of the previous check. So let's say I got a check from Google for $100. It would actually be, I would have 2 checks from Google for $100 with all the same check numbers and routing numbers and everything. Basically a duplicate process, duplicate check. It must have been some type of error in the check printing and packing process. Technically, a bank should not be able to deposit the same check, because it's like basically taking one check, depositing it twice, because that's what it technically is. Google actually admitted this problem and said, don't try to deposit it twice. Technically, it's fraud. You shouldn't be doing it. So if you want, you could deposit one and then maybe keep the other one and frame it somewhere if you like, or mail it back to them or whatever. But rip it up, shred it. It doesn't really help to have duplicate checks, because you can't deposit more than one of the same check number from the same company. So Google has expanded their AdSense filtering process. So back a couple months ago, maybe, Google had the ability to give AdSense publishers to block not just specific sites, but now categories. So if you don't want ads for ringtones, you could say, I don't want ads for ringtones, and they give you several, I think about 10 or so categories you could block. Google has expanded this feature to more publishers who are using AdSense. Plus they added some features where you could actually see not just what the category names are, but you can actually click on more details to see what is within that category, which is nice to know, because sometimes it's not so easy to understand what goes under the get rich category. In addition, they also added a column for recent ad impressions, so not just about earnings, but also impressions. So if you want to see not just how would blocking this specific category impact me on just an earnings level, you can actually see that on how it would impact you on an impression level. So for the past several months, we've been talking about the new AdWords interface, which has been a beta for a really long time now. Google, there's people who love it, there's people who hate it. But now there's rumors and discussion from actually emails sent to advertisers saying that they have been pushed over and forced to stay in the new AdWords interface. A lot of people who get these emails feel like they're forced to do something that they don't want to do. They use AdWords every day. They like the old AdWords interface, and they're doing whatever they can to keep the old. The problem is some advertisers are currently being forced to upgrade, and they have no way to go back to the old AdWords interface. There is an open plea to keep the old AdWords interface. AdWords advisor at the Webmaster World forums is letting Google know about this, but it doesn't seem like Google is going to appeal to those who want the old AdWords interface. We did a poll several months ago, or a few months ago, that said 56% of AdWords advertisers dislike new AdWords interface, which is not so bad. But overall, it seems like AdWords advertisers are going to be pushed into this new interface, ready or not. It's going to be coming soon. Today we wrote about how a lot of local SEO companies who are using the Google Local Business Center to update their clients' listings, it seems like those updates are not going onto the site as quickly as they want or ever. So today, in the past couple days, those who have been doing updates to the Google Local Business Center said that the updates are not being reflected. Typically, those updates are reflected really immediately or soon after. But now they're not being updated at all. Google has not yet admitted to this bug, but it seems like a lot of SEOs are noticing this and they're a little concerned. Also, this week we discussed how Google's site reconsideration request, where you basically say, I'm sorry, Google, I did something wrong, I didn't listen to your guidelines, and here's what I did, and here's how I fixed it, please re-include my site in your index. That form that people use to actually do a reconsideration request is not working for some. It's basically, I think, a bug with Internet Explorer and the form, and Google's looking to fix it. But if you have been penalized, you're going to have to use a different browser to actually submit a reconsideration request at Google. In addition to Google Webmaster Tools, there seems to be a new Sitemaps error, which is called a duplicate URL. A lot of people have been noticing this. We posted about this on August 3rd, 2009. The error is basically, in short, duplicate URL, and if you click on the full error, it basically means this URL is duplicate to another URL in the sitemap. Please remove it and resubmit it. So basically, sometimes people have in their sitemap file the same URL listed twice, and sometimes it's not the same URL, but it's, let's say, abc.com/folder/page.index.html, and then some people have that page, the index.html, slightly different than the slash page, which is technically, I guess, possible to do on a technical front, but Google sees the slash and the index.html typically the same page. So you got to be careful with that. Outside of that, if you do see these errors coming up in your sitemap file, you might want to go ahead and do something about it, and it might be useful to take a look at your Webmaster Tools to see if this is coming up. Again, we have more details about this on August 3rd at SEOroundtable.com. Something I found at the Google Maps help forum was basically that back several months ago, I think in January actually, we talked about how the traffic patterns in Google Maps, when you add the traffic data, it overlays red, green, different colors, and yellow to actually show you what the traffic is currently or estimated for a certain time. What we had was several colorblind people actually coming into Google Maps and complaining that the red is hard to distinguish between the red and the green. So what Google Maps did this past week or so was they actually made the red a darker red to help colorblind people to actually notice the difference between the red and the green. Some people said that helped tremendously, and some people said it didn't help at all. I'm personally not colorblind, so I don't know the challenges, but supposedly the challenges between red and green are too similar for colorblind people. Again, I'm not too sure about how that works, but we did post screenshots of the two different things, the two different before and afters of the red colors, and if you want to take a look at that, you can. We have a post about it, I think it was on yesterday, so go to SEOroundtable.com and look for that, and you'll be able to see it. Hopefully, Google actually did say that they're going to actually working on other solutions for the colorblind to pick up on traffic patterns. So yesterday, Twitter, as long as Twitter had a major DOS attack, I think it was related to some political thing going on, and some hackers went ahead and tried to take down Twitter because of some specific users, also Facebook and some other social media sites. But Twitter got the most press about it. It's pretty amazing. I was watching the news last night, and on primetime TV, I think it was Channel 2 or Channel 4 in New York, it was covering Twitter being down. It was like a major news item. They had a minute or two spot how Twitter was down. It's pretty amazing. It's not the end of the world when Twitter goes down for most people, but it's obviously used by us in this community a lot. It's used by people in the technology industry, and it's used by Hollywood tremendously. So maybe that's why it was covered so much. If you are on Twitter, you watch these videos, you like us, you like me, you can definitely follow me. I'm at twitter.com/rustybrick. or you can follow the Search Engine Roundtable, which is twitter.com/SE Roundtable. So looking forward to following you too. Okay, so that recaps the whole week at the Search Engine Roundtable. This was the August 7th Friday edition. My name is Barry Schwartz, and regarding next week, I will be at Search Engine Strategies. I think I'm leaving Monday night, coming back Friday morning, so I might be doing a video depending on how tired I am or not, but we will have a lot of live blog coverage at seroundtable.com next week of SES, and hopefully we'll also be covering a lot of the search forum threads like we usually do. And if you're at SES, definitely say hello. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you then.